all doing the same thing now every time. I'm trying to figure out. Should be a good time. Cool spot. Yeah, we're gonna have a conference center. Train wheels are too, but not the L. Everybody else does it. Yes. Yes, it's not so bad. I've never been to this convention center. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've never been to such a show. I know it's supposed to. Yeah, it should be a good time. I guess I say presentation at the National Parks and Rec Conference in Orlando too. It's in September. I already gave it once at the Iowa Parks and Rec. Can you decide when we stay in Orlando for a couple more days afterwards or not? Yeah. That's the dangerous part. A mile. That's gonna cost you.
Yeah.
I went to the beach and hung out last time. I got that little bar there that I ordered a drink. It was like $18 or something like that. Yeah. Oh, really? No, I've never done that. Okay. Yeah, I kind of seen that area down there, but I've never really been down there. Oh, yeah. Should be fine. Oh, yeah.
Here we go, guys. I'd like to call to order Keokuk City Council meeting, July 3rd, 2025, 5:30 PM at 501 Main Street. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a roll call?
Crenshaw,
Here.
Walker,
Here.
Mullen, Ackley,
Here.
Dade,
Here.
Andrews,
Here.
Tillman,
Here.
Bryant,
Here.
Greenwald,
Here.
all present.
Item number 4, Mayor's Correspondence. Thursday, July 3rd, which is today, 2025, Joe's Old Fashioned Fun Carnival is in the park from 5 to 10 p.m. And the Southside Boat Club will be having food for sale starting at 4 p.m., music from 8 to 11 p.m. with fireworks starting during one of the band's breaks. That should be the one at dusk. And if you're done here, go out and enjoy. Those are great things for the city of Keokuk. Friday, July 4th, 2025, Rand Park 4th of July celebration, Joe's Old Fashioned Carnival from 1 to 10 p.m. Fun, games, vendors. There'll be food trucks and much, much more. Music by them Smokin' Crawdaddies from 6 to 9 p.m., followed by the Nauvoo Bagpipers, the national anthem, and fireworks again at dusk. Saturday, July 5th, 2025, Keokuk Park and Recreation Advisory Board will have their youth fishing derby at 9 a.m. at the Rand Park Pound. Old Fashioned Joe's Carnival will be there from 1 to 10 again. Item number 2, Keokuk Yacht Club will have their poker run starting at 9 a.m., and that's boats, cars, and motorcycles are all welcome. Item number 3 is Hanging at Hy-Vee Cruisin' from 6 to 9 p.m. Cruisers can turn their radio on station, their Keokuk radio station at KOKX 93.3 for cruise music. And Warsaw will be having their Freedom Fest in Warsaw, Illinois. It starts with a parade at 10 a.m. with kids entertainment starting at 11 o'clock, and music by Staggert from 5 to 8, and Stumptown from 9 to 1 with fireworks at 10 p.m. Sunday, July 6th, the Standing Bear Council July membership meeting will be at the Hawkeye Restaurant at 1 o'clock p.m. So if you don't have anything to do, there's a whole bunch of stuff to do in Keokuk this weekend. Item number 5 is citizens' request. If you would like to come to the podium and you have a request, please come to the podium, state your name and your address, and take just a couple minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, please.
Hi, my name's Jenny Henson. I have the Lost Canvas, and I also have, so I have 719, I have 709, and 711. And I have bed and breakfast units above 709 and 711. And it's, I know it's been a long time since the noise ordinance, so the noise ordinance has been, in effect or redone. But it's really cool that downtown Keokuk is really getting a lot of people, urban living. It's great, and it's good for the city. But the downfall is the noise with the live music. It's with my Airbnb unit, I've had people come down and not be happy that they were up all night with loud music. So, and when they get in late, they've driven all day, they just want to kind of crash, get up, and get back on the road again. And when they're up late, but then there's some people that enjoy it. They like to go over and enjoy the music, and it's okay with them, but not everybody. I get a lot of calls in the middle of the night when I'm out because they're unhappy, and they don't, so far I don't think I have any bad reviews because they don't want to give me a bad review, but they tell me about it. They're like, we don't want to give you a bad review because we love the place, but we're not coming back. So, and I think this might be, you've got apartment buildings going up now, and it's going to discourage people. I'm afraid it's going to discourage people from wanting to live downtown. I think everybody loves live music, but maybe it could be adjusted a little bit, like maybe 11 o'clock, where there's a lot of, people around. I don't know how to go about that, or if it's even a thing, or if I'm just wasting my breath, but it's been a problem. And also like loudspeakers outside. I know I've had to make a few calls because my tenants called and they're like, there's a speaker right close to my window and I cannot sleep. Is there anything we can do? And I said, I'll call. And then the officers were good about just getting it and said something, and then it got turned off, and that was fine. But I don't know. And maybe it's not even maybe I'm wasting my breath, but if there were to be a thing changed, I mean, it's been years since it's been changed, and I know you've had problems in the past with other bands and stuff. I think that holidays should be an exception. On a holiday, 4th of July and stuff, it's okay. People are, it's a holiday. Like with the Glitz, it's okay. And Back Alley Band Fest, it's great. It's an event. But maybe just on a weekly basis, there's a lot of people have to get up early and go to sleep, or get to sleep so they can get up early. And they're, struggling to try to find a way to do that. I know I tried personally, had a bottle of wine, I felt worse the next day. didn't work. I think I felt worse. I should have just listened to the music. But anyway, I don't know is it possible? I'm just saying, my question is to you guys, is it possible to work on something like that?
We did have, like you said, it had a new ordinance. It's been, probably 10 years ago at least. So Pam is on vacation this week, so maybe next week we can have a conversation with her to see where that all stands and speak with the police department and maybe see what can happen to maybe see if there's changes that can make it easier. I don't know whether this is happening on weekends or during the week or.
Well, it's mostly weekends. Speakers kind of, anytime they forget to turn it off, but the bands are on the weekend.
Okay,
And like I say, some people are okay with it, but there's people, I've had to give people money back.
okay.
So, they're just like not happy. They come in the coffee shop and they're just like, we're not happy.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Let us speak with Pam and maybe the police department and see if there's different things that need to be changed, look at what other cities do and see what we can look into and get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jenny.
Hi, guys. My name's Kevin Kuckelman. I own the Hotel Iowa building at the corner of 4th and Main. In 2006, we did a major renovation there, spent about $9 million, and we put in place 53 apartments. We have 5 commercial leases. The building occupancy stands at roughly 70 people a day in and out of that building. The reason that we're here is because the condition of the alley behind our building has been chronically unkept, unmaintained. I have sent letters to mayors at least twice with regard to this issue, which have just gone unanswered. So I'm prepared at this point to actually put private money, my money, in to a project that would actually fix the problem permanently. The issues are, and by the way, I have had 2 or 3 conversations with Dave Bogner at Waterworks, and he is open to the idea if we can get a budget that works reasonably, he's willing to be a partner in this project as well. The issue is that we have water coming off of the Waterworks building. We have water sloping down the parking spaces, and water coming off of my building, just one small part of my building. And that water just pools. It just sits there, especially in the winter. It freeze thaw, because there's no sunlight back there. So it just never goes away. We've had probably 4 incidences of falls by tenants this year. We have an older population. Some of them are here with me tonight. And it's a concern for us. It's a concern for their safety. It's a concern with regard to liability. And I think it's fixable. But I don't want to just go in and repave the alley because we'll be right back here in 2 years. I want to figure out a way to drain that water and move it away from that area and then do a concrete alley through that area. So I'm here because it would be easy for the city to say, oh, well, if we do this for your alley, we got to do it for everybody's alley, yada, yada. I'm here to say anybody in Keokuk that has 70 people permanently residing in their building, maybe you should do it for them if their alley is a wreck. This is, I think it's an opportunity also for the city to do a cooperative effort. I don't know of any example where a private citizen said, it's important enough to me to put some money where my mouth is. We have a petition with 111 signatures on it, which I will leave with the mayor. I sent some correspondence to some of you, including the mayor, with photographs of the problem. And again, I'll just leave a copy of that for you, but I will leave this petition as well. I hope that the city council will support this idea. I think, again, we need to get some numbers, but I think that you're looking at a project that's going to cost $40,000 to $50,000. But I think it's important based on the usage of that particular section of the alley. So I'll leave this with you. If you guys have questions for me, I'll be glad to try to field those. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any more citizens' requests? Then we'll move on to item number 6, consent agenda. Minutes of the regular council meeting of June 19th, 2025. Resolution approving a liquor license for Walmart Supercenter, number 1431, 300 North Park Drive, Class E retail alcohol license effective July 21st, 2025. Resolution approving a liquor license for Arrowhead Bowl, 3535 Main Street, Class C retail alcohol license effective August 1st, 2025. And I need a motion to pay bills and transfers listed in the registers number 5480 through 5482. I need a motion to approve the agenda, including the consent agenda.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 7, I need a motion to amend the previously introduced language of the ordinance Title 19, Plats and Subdivisions to reflect revised language.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 7B, motion to approve the initial reading of ordinance repealing Title 19 Plats and Subdivisions and enacting in lieu thereof a new ordinance, Title 19 Subdivision of the Keokuk Municipal Code. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
The Planning Commission held multiple meetings to review the proposed charges and on April 28, 2025, recommended approving the ordinance and forwarding it to the City Council for consideration. The purpose of this ordinance is to create a subdivision ordinance to comply with Chapter 354 Iowa Code and to protect the health, welfare, and public safety of the City of Keokuk. The council held a public hearing on June 19, 2025. Interim City Administrator Jim Furno suggested adding street lighting to design criteria section of the new code. City council members agreed to the suggestion. Following the public hearing, the proposed was amended to include additional language as follows: 19.28.100 electric distribution and street lighting. All improvements shall be designed and installed to meet the standards set for Alliant Energy and any other subsequent provider to the City of Keokuk. Amend and approve the first reading. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Oh, wait a minute, I need a roll call, I'm sorry.
Crenshaw,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Mullen, Cackley,
Aye.
Dade.
Aye.
Andrews.
Aye.
Tillman,
Aye.
Bryant,
Aye.
Greenwald,
Aye.
all ayes.
Then I will need a motion to waive the second and third reading for this ordinance. With that failing, we'll continue on. Item number 8, consider resolution approving a contract to demolish 1728 J Street. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
One bid was received on July 11th, 2025 to demolish the single-family dwelling as well as the outbuildings and cistern at 1728 J Street that the City of Keokuk acquired to expand Oakland Cemetery. The loan bid was received from WNS Contracting of Keokuk, Iowa in the amount of $9,850. It is therefore recommended the contract be awarded to WNS Contracting in the amount of $9,850 for the demo work at 1728 J Street. Staff recommends to set a public hearing. We don't need a public hearing, okay. We need to recommend approval.
So move.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 9, consider resolution approving purchase of Smarts VR training system. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
The Keokuk Police Department respectfully requests City Council approval to purchase a virtual reality VR training system in the amount of $45,000. This system will significantly enhance the department's ability to deliver modern, scenario-based training in a controlled, cost-effective, and immersive environment. Training can be completed on shift or assigned within our current training budget. A federal grant was applied for and approved for the full amount of the equipment, with the funds being available on July 1st, 2025. This is a reimbursement grant, with the initial purchase coming out of the capital equipment purchases general fund, as it is not budgeted for. Any more discussion?
Chief, I had a question. This wasn't a budgeted item?
No, it was not a budgeted item. We applied for a federal grant, so it's a reimbursement.
And what were the two different pieces of equipment that you were replacing? A set of tasers? Is that-
On our capital purchases this year, we needed tasers and our MDTs in our cars.
And I just had questions because I was trying to match up money coming in versus being spent. So the expense wasn't budgeted. You did have some grants that were budgeted in your regular department budget.
Yeah, we had some GTSB.
It's a separate amount.
It's separate, yep.
No, I'm sorry, there was another amount. I was just wondering if that was, like, shouldn't have been budgeted to receive other revenue, or?
I'd have to know specifically what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like 20,000 in your admin budget. GTSB was separate, but I'm just kind of curious, trying to track and match dollars.
A $20,000 grant in the admin budget?
That's what was in the budget, but
I don't know.
yeah, that's okay.
Unless that's an estimate. What's that?
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry to cut you off guard. I'm just trying to.
Oh, you said that was a grant?
It's just the line item in the budget for grants showed like $20,000 in it. And I was when I was looking at that versus this action item, I was trying to match up if it was part of what you had budgeted or not, or just,
No.
I know some of the figures I wasn't necessarily sure of for where they came from anyway.
Yeah,
so.
there's no grant associated with the administration line.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 10, consider resolution approving $25,000 payment to the MBRME for completion of the developmental project on 600 block of Main Street, Keokuk. I need a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
The city entered into a development agreement with MBMRE for several buildings on the 600 block of Main Street in 2023. The buildings were sold to MBMRE for $25,000 as part of an agreement with multiple incentives offered to offset the development costs. The development agreement included a provision for the city to reimburse the $25,000 purchase price upon completion of the project. The project has been completed and the payment is now due. Do we have any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I got a quick question.
Okay.
With the project being completed, this is just for the 3 buildings on Main Street. Do we know the process for the building that's kind of around the corner? That was going to be part of a future project as well?
I can never tell if this is on or not. That other building we may see come back as a separate project for some council consideration over the next couple of months.
So that building did get cut then completely from?
It's not part of this.
Okay.
Yeah, but we may get followed up with as a separate project. And I did just want to point out, it did talk about there's some future items just so the council is keeping in mind when we do the TIF certifications for debt at the end of the year. There's 2 pieces that were part of this development agreement. $250,000 grant yet to be paid over a period of 5 years, $50,000 a year. and then a rebate of 90% of the increased valuation of taxes for 10 years. So it's an up to $130,000 rebate. If the valuation was high enough, it caps at that. So that will be considered as we look at TIF later in the year.
Is there any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 11, consider resolution approving the mayor to sign a memorandum of understanding, an MOU agreement between the city of Keokuk and I'm On. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
The city enter, whoops, I got to move it. That's okay. I'm On is installing a community-wide fiber network that requires all areas of underground installation to be located. A memorandum of understanding, MOU, agreement by the city of Keokuk and I'm On is required for the city to perform all locating services. It is therefore recommended that the mayor be authorized to sign an MOU with I'm On. Staff recommends approval. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 12, consider resolution approving amendment for Timea Street engineering. I need a motion to approve. The City of Keokuk previously awarded an engineering contract to Bolton and Mink Incorporated for engineering the Timea Street from 22nd Street to 7th Street project. The original job was to be mill and fill, but after pavement cores were taken, it is determined that the thickness of the existing asphalt would not adequately support a mill overlay. This is a substantial increase in design services. Due to the unforeseen circumstances and the project changing to Portland cement concrete, the engineers have submitted an amendment to the cost of estimate for the engineering services. It is therefore recommended that the city amend the original agreement with Bolton and Mink Incorporated for the design and reconstruction of Timea Street from 22nd to 7th Street project by adding $428,250 to the base fee for a total of not to exceed $463,250. Do I have any discussion?
I have some questions. On this project, were the core samples completed before we received the first suggestion that the project was to be mill and fill?
No.
Since the 18th Street,
Well, wait a minute, I can't.
since the 18th Street project is complete now, have all bills been submitted, debts paid on that?
I believe we will have one more pay request from Jones. And then we will still hold their retainage until their punch list items are complete.
Okay, speak slowly and loudly.
Sorry, they'll have one more, I think one more pay app for the remainder of their work, and then we will still be holding their retainage until they get the punch list items taken care of.
Okay. So do we have a ballpark figure of what the total amount that they will have been paid for that project?
Their original bid was $3.49 million, I believe, and there's like $52,000 in change orders. So,
Okay, so coming out of the 5 million, we're down to a little over maybe 1 million left out of that original 5 million?
I believe when we get our reimbursement from HUD, we'll have about 2.1 million after the out of the first 5 million.
Okay, because I saw on the budgeted amount as 5 million for this project.
Well, that's the budgeted amount for the line item. So that line item 301-755-6490, that's where we put the 5 million. So that's the budget for the first 3 roads out of that group that we picked.
Okay. So it's not counting any of the recently approved 3 million.
Well, that would be deducted out of that.
So you have about 2.1 million in cash carryover after this project is completed, assuming we get the HUD funds
Yeah.
reimbursed, which still hasn't been completed, but we transferred in out of the bonds that were just sold 2.9 million. So there's about $5 million of cash in the capital project fund to do the next street project. This project as designed is a little shy of 5 million anticipated. Now, there's some give and take in that because we are looking at adding some additional stormwater separation from the sewer system. Along with that, we will probably be looking at doing an SRF loan. There's some reasoning behind this. The state, right, I mean, one of the things that just happened, the sewer department on one of their last projects did an SRF loan for $3.5 million. They just,
Define SRF, please.
state revolving fund. So any utility, stormwater, sewer, or water is eligible to be financed. And it's just a financing mechanism. The main reason that we would look at using that as a mechanism would be to do something similar to what the water department just did. They did an SRF loan for one of their previous projects. I think it was working on the water towers. $3.5 million. They just received $1.3 million of loan forgiveness, essentially a grant from the state. Keokuk as a community is eligible. It's not one that you have a formal application process, but they look at the characteristics of a community, and Keokuk rates very favorably on a statewide basis for reimbursement of about 35% of project costs. There is only a short time frame where that funding, that grant type funding, will be available from the state over the next couple of years. We will look to try to put ourselves on this project in a position to at least be considered by them to give us some grant reimbursement on it. We may also look at using CDBG, Community Development Block Grant, for up to $500,000 of grant funds towards this project, specifically towards the stormwater portion. As we're working with Bolton and Mink, we'll talk with them about trying to get the project in a favorable position to put as much of the street work that's being done along with the stormwater pipes underneath the street towards that stormwater project. It puts us in a position to have a larger amount potentially grant reimbursed to us. I'm telling you this just to give you a little bit of a scope of, as we look at potentially a $5 million project that would, if you looked at it just a straight street project, we have the funding on it, but it does use up that whole funding. We're going to try to minimize how much of this project is done out of the street capital project fund and put it over towards sewer, and then try to get as much of that reimbursed as we possibly can. Brian's already outlined it, and I don't know how this has worked through this committee structure in terms of looking at a 5-year street plan, but you've already outlined a couple of other additional streets that you'd like to try to get accomplished yet out of the funding that we just borrowed too. So there is some plans trying to make sure that there's still funds available to do additional streets.
But where I'm going is we still have the Grand Avenue to be taken out of those remaining funds. And if I'm remembering correctly, it's close to 800,000.
Correct.
And I asked specifically earlier if there was going to be replacement of utilities underneath, and was initially told no. And I had a letter I have access to that was sent to Grand Avenue people saying that some of those utilities will be being replaced?
We're not replacing any underground piping. We're just redoing the intakes because of the location of them. So the intakes will be set on top of the existing piping.
Okay,
So we're not digging up or doing any underground work on the storm piping that's in place at Grand Avenue. It's just the intakes, they're not in great shape anyway, so the intakes on the surface will need to be replaced within the new curb lines.
And you will see some changes on the elevations of the street
Yes.
along the curb lines in
Yeah.
some of those places. So it will change what the level looks like there for how stormwater works through in some of the where the
Yeah,
water
so-
flows under a couple of those drives, you're going to see some of
Right,
those change as well.
The riverside of Grand elevation will be raised a little bit so we can meet SUDA specifications for the driveway replacements. So then those intakes would have to be adjusted accordingly.
okay. I lost a thought, but since you mentioned a change in the sewer
Mhm.
separation under Timea, which I'm sure is a good thing, if you look at the last page of the engineering agreement, it says additional services, and it talks about different kinds of design, sanitary sewer design, water main design. Is that for new construction or for these changes that,
You were already, well, you were already looking at some, but go ahead.
Yeah, so we're not doing anything with the sanitary sewer on this project. It would just be taking stormwater off of it. If that's, so what we would be doing is running new dedicated storm lines and taking the existing storm system out there off of the sanitary, which also will help us with our CO2 project with the EPA. So we'll be sending less stormwater to the treatment plant.
okay,
And so in the design, even with what was presented here, the scope of services, you were already looking at doing some stormwater separation.
Yeah.
And so we may do a little bit more than what was contemplated even as he had a discussion with Bolton and Mink to come up with this engineering scope. But we're going to be looking at a couple of different alternatives as we move forward. We're not sure which one that would be. If it's something that expands just based off of doing more sewer separation, it'll come back to talk about a discussion again.
okay. And the last, and what is very important to many of the people on Timea Street, I'm already getting questions about whether or not parking is going to be restricted to one side of the street.
So the short answer is no. It'll still be one-sided parking where it currently is now. Along Kilbourne Park's one-sided parking, that'll stay that way. Between 7th and, not sure if it goes all the way to 8th, but coming up the hill as you turn off 7th Street to Timea, there's no parking on that section.
Okay,
But other than that, we're going to keep the standard width of, I believe, 30,
You talked about 32, I think.
32 feet of the standard width, which will allow parking on both sides.
okay, I'm done.
So Brian, what we're looking at right now is just engineering fees, and it's really just kind of like their base rate, which, incidentals could come up, which could impact that in the future. Just for comparison's sake, how does this fee of not to exceed 463,000 compare to the Rand, or not the Rand, but the Grand Avenue project and the recently completed 7th 18th
Well, 18th would be the closest apples to apples comparison. Their engineering fee was like 423,000 for 18th. On the original estimate was around 4 million. This original estimate's around 4.8 million, and it's 463,000. It's also 4 blocks longer.
Mhm.
So it's within as a general rule of thumb, 7 to 10% of the estimated construction cost you use for engineering.
Okay, thank you.
And I would say, as I was even telling Brian, it's the design side has, on the 18th Street and on this one, seem on the higher side. But what we found on the 18th Street one was that your construction phase engineering fees were significantly lower than typical. So on that project, it ended up being pretty close to
And a
what.
lot of that's, we have Jason and John that can do a lot of the stuff in-house that we wouldn't require the engineers to do on the back end, on the construction side.
I have a quick question. The 960 grant, we haven't received that yet, but when we get that, will that only be allowed to be used on 18th Street, or can we also use those funds for other streets as well?
It's a reimbursement, so we'll be able to use that on other streets.
Okay.
So-
What is the progress on that? How's that coming along?
I believe the only thing we're waiting on is EOC to finish the environmental part
So
of it.
the environmental has been done. It's been submitted to HUD as well, and the State Historical Society has given their approval on it. We just signed a notice that will go into the paper, informing the public that we are intending to make an application to draw down funds the latter half of the month. And then there's still more steps that HUD has for how you go through that process, but we're in line for the latter half of the month to be in a position to be approved to draw down funds.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 13, consider resolution approving the road maintenance agreement closeout with ITC Midwest LLC. I need a motion to approve.
Second.
On December 17th, 2021, the city entered into a road maintenance agreement with ITC Midwest LLC for construction project that has since been completed. On May 14th, 2025, the city was notified by ITC that the project has been completed. In order for the project to be closed out, the city must release ITC from said agreement. City staff has inspected the roadways that were used by the ITC during the construction and has determined that no repairs were needed. It is therefore recommended that the city council approves the mayor to sign a letter of release to allow the final closeout of the project. Do I have any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Consider resolution, item number 14, consider resolution approving lease agreement with Rivers Edge Wellness, PLLC for Suite 103 at the Southeast Iowa Development Center. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Rivers Edge Wellness, PLCC, has requested a lease with the city for the Southeast Iowa Development Center. The new lease will be for a term of 2 years or 24 months, beginning July 15th, 2025, and ending at midnight on July 14th, 2027. Rivers Edge Wellness, PLLC, will pay $500 per month for the total lease amount of $12,000. The lease area consists of 22 square feet in suite number 103. Staff recommends approval. Do I have any more discussion?
I would just note, Brian, was this in a portion of the building that was being rented by Freeze Dry?
No, this is on the first floor when you come in the building on the opposite side.
Just one single office space?
Just one office space, yep.
But Freeze Dried is they've had most of their stuff out of the facility at this point.
Yes.
Their lease expired at the end of June
I believe
or
so.
close to that. That they're not going to be continuing to lease in that facility. We continue to lose 500 a month is going to add 6,000 of revenue a year. It's not going to have a significant impact on an area that's costing us at least 150,000 annually. This is still a facility that we're looking at other options. I talked with Brian and tried to let him make sure that as he talked with them about leasing this space, that just to let him know that, we're trying to work through what's going on long-term, if this is the best thing for us to be doing. There is a provision in the contract that, we can provide a 90-day written notice if we have something come up where there's an alternative need for the use of this facility. And then there's specific language in there with them being in there as a nonprofit. If a for-profit entity were to come in and want to use it, by our EDA agreement, we're supposed to turn it over to that other provider. So they were okay with some of that discussion?
Yes, they approved the lease. As you know, she had some revisions to it, and then we sent that off to our attorney, and everything got approved, and I sent it back to her, and she was fine with it, so.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Item number 15, consider resolution approving the appointment of James Furno as city administrator and authorizing the approval and execution of the employment contract. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Mahoney recommends the appointment of James Furno as a city administrator. The proposed resolution formally approves Mr. Furno's appointment and authorizes execution of the company employment contract, which outlines the terms and the roles and conditions of his role. This action will support a smooth leadership transition and ensure continued effective management of the City of Keokuk operations. Staff recommends approving the motion. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
Seems like I just did this.
You did, and now we're more excited.
Okay.
Okay. All right, raise your right hand. I, James Furno, do solemnly swear
I, James Furno, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Iowa,
and the state of Iowa,
and I will honestly demean myself in office
and I will honestly demean myself in office
and faithfully and impartially
and faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of city administrator
discharge the duties of city administrator
of the City of Keokuk
of the city of Keokuk
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
and in accordance with the laws of the state of Iowa
and in accordance with the laws of the state of Iowa
and ordinance of said city.
and ordinances of said city.
So help me God.
So help me God. Why, thank you.
I am excited. Yay!
Thank you all. So.
Item number 16. Consider resolution authorizing the mayor to sign supplement agreement between the City of Keokuk and the Iowa Department of Transportation. I need a motion to approve.
Second.
Approve and allow the mayor to sign the Iowa Department of Transportation supplement agreement for the maintenance of primary roads in municipalities. This agreement shall be in effective July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. This is an annual agreement stating that the Iowa DOT agrees to pay the city the following amount after the work has been completed of $70,373.10. Staff recommends approval. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item 17, consider resolution authorizing the mayor to sign demolition contract for single-family dwelling located at 1103 Orleans Avenue. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
1103 Orleans is owned by Chris Soyce. Communications with the homeowner have failed. 1103 Orleans is in poor condition. The roof has failed on the house and the garage. The property has been vacant for several years, and the city has contracted nuisance abatements for mowing, securing, removal of dangerous tree limbs, etc. The bid was received from CCS the bids were received. CCS was the lower bid at $8,500. The high bid on this property was $15,000. Liens have and will continue to be placed on this property. Staff recommends mayor to sign demolition contract. Do I have any more discussion?
It was just note for those who've looked at the packet the bid results that were attached in the packet were for an incorrect property. You did have from council, at least, got an email from Casey on what the bids were that were received. Was CCS, Winco, and WNS were the three bids. One of those was listed without, Win was a lower bid actually, but they were missing the insurance and asbestos information, so they weren't considered responsive in terms of a complete bid being given. But in terms of confusion that may have been caused by the packet, that's kind of it's just an incorrect sheet in there.
Okay, moving forward, we have item number 18, we didn't do that. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 18, council liaison reports. Do we have any today? I can tell you that the Road of Honor ribbon cutting ceremony was amazing. We had quite a few people there. The weather was hot, but it worked out really well. The road is now the Road of Honor. It's official, and I am sitting at my desk writing hundreds of thank you notes to millions of people who helped with that project. And thanks to anybody here, and thanks to anybody listening. It's great to see that road where it's at, and it's great to honor the veterans. And it's also a road to let the citizens of Keokuk know that we actually are hearing that they want roads fixed, and we are working on it. So that will be the thank you notes are going out, and thanks to everybody that helped. Item number 19, staff reports.
I think one thing that I would point out, there was a new training requirement that was put in place for all newly, not for existing members on the council, but for any newly appointed or elected officials. So this next election cycle, anyone who comes on will have to go through a new training program. This is something that the state of Iowa, what is it, IPIB, Iowa Public Information Board, had a motion or had a decision to create a new training program that everybody is required to do. So it's not just council member being elected, it's being elected to any office. It's also anyone who gets appointed to a committee. So as we go through the process of working with folks coming on and being new members of committees, we're going to have to start putting them through a formal training program. There is no formal training program out there yet. So IPIB will develop one over the next few months. That is something that's going to change the dynamics of how people come into office and how people come onto boards. And I don't know if it'll change the dynamics of what people may want to be on boards with it's a more complicated process. But I mean, there's really a good reason behind it. They want to make sure that we all understand what open meetings are, how to do things where we provide proper notice of meetings for different groups, and make sure that we have them accessible the way that's required by state law. And it's just an extra thing for you to be looking forward to over the next few months.
Okay, so item number 20 is new business. We have any new business, anybody? Item number 21, I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Let's go celebrate the 4th of July, everybody.